Will the silver price collapse once again as it already did in 1980 and in 2011 after reaching a immense bull run high, or will this current silver rally be sustainable and bring us to prices over $100 per ounce? And what does it mean for your individual investment decision? Should you sell all your silver? Should you hold your silver, or should you buy even more silver? And in order to answer those questions, we will take a look on the silver chart, make a technical analysis, and afterwards we will take a look on the fundamentals which support my opinion. Alright guys, so before we start with the video, as always, if the video will be helpful or insightful for your investment decisions, I would appreciate it if you leave a subscription, if you follow our small and growing channel. So first we start with the silver chart, and as we can see, we had one of the biggest up years in the last year of 2025 we ever had in silver. And going on the 3-month chart and on the monthly chart, we can see that we are on a parabolic up move right now since 2022, you can say it started. So, and now I will show you what I drew on the chart and what the price of silver can do in the coming weeks and months. So let's start with what I drew on the charts. Alright, so as you know, if you follow my account for a few weeks already, in most of my videos when I show you the silver chart, we got our range, alright? Range high and range low. And our price targets for our take profit orders are our extended targets of the range. 1.618, 2, 2.618, 3.618, and so on, okay? Fibonacci extended range targets. But on the daily, we can see that we are currently still holding our uptrend trend line, okay? There is still momentum. And when you go on the 4-hour chart or even on the 1-hour chart, we can see that in confluence with our uptrending supporting trend line, we have a falling wedge, which is a bullish continuation chart pattern, okay guys? So this, just based on probabilities, the current price of silver, the current chart of silver is still looking bullish, and probability wise should continue to go higher, okay? So maybe we will even accelerate and go to 3 digits in Q1 this year, or we will form a double top before we have a bigger correction, okay? Before we break this uptrending momentum supportive trend line. And in my opinion, we cannot tell what will happen, okay? If we see a double top or if we see a continuation of the rally. But it is certain that silver will eventually have a bigger correction, such as gold had in the last couple of years, okay? Doesn't mean that the bull run is over if we get something like this, but it will be a healthy correction to continue the uptrend and to cool it off a little bit. So because the chart doesn't go up vertically, okay, it always has to make some corrections before it goes higher. And with that said, I think that silver will have a great year of 2026. We will have great gains again, yes, just like in 2025. But I would be a little bit more cautious since we are in a really parabolic move right now. Yes, we have a bullish continuation pattern currently, but as soon as this trend line breaks, in my opinion, we will see a bigger correction, which can last a few weeks or even a few months before we go higher again. So let's talk about the fundamentals now, because the fundamentals support what I just said. So why doesn't the current uptrend most likely won't end like 2011 and 1980? The fundamental reasons are the structural supply deficit. Global silver demand continues to exceed mine supply, which limits downside risk, okay? Then we got the industrial demand dominance. So a large share of the demand of silver isn't actually coming from us, from the speculative investors or from the investors which want to save their buying power, but most of the supply comes from industrial companies, solar, electronics, EVs. and so on, which makes the demand more stable and less speculative. Then we got less leveraged speculation in comparison to 2011, where the market was extremely leveraged. Right now, the current market isn't driven by extreme retail leverage. Of course, there are some leveraged traders, some speculative traders, which bought here, which got which got liquidated after this massive drop. Then they bought again, or they bought again right here because they thought that's it, we go higher. They got liquidated once again, we fall even lower. But right now, in my opinion, like in general, for this total uptrend we had last year, the speculative players aren't that oversized in comparison to the industrial demand players or the players who are long-term visioned. And furthermore, we got a supportive monetary backdrop, high sovereign debt, okay, all the states, especially the US, are in high debt. We got fiscal dominance and persistent inflation risk underpin precious metals. You know, the bonds are always on a high yield, which tells us that big money investors, okay, billionaires, millionaires, expect inflation to stay sticky, to stay more to the upside instead of going lower. And all of us, we know that monetary policy, especially in the US, the Fed isn't sovereign anymore. And especially with the next president, which will be elected by Trump, the Fed will do anything to, first of all, push the stock markets higher. Second of all, don't let the economy die in the US. And third of all, which is a more event-driven aspect, the midterms in November need to be good for Trump, for the Republicans. And how will they do it? By pushing markets higher, by boosting the economy with more money, with more inflation. And of course, another major aspect, or major fundamental aspect, which is supporting the current price of silver, is the critical mineral status in the US and also kinda in China, okay guys? So silver is on a sustainable upside rally. The demand is overweighted by industrial players, which don't care if the price is at $20 or $200 because they need to buy silver anyways in order to make cash flow, in order to produce and sell products. And sometimes the opportunity costs of buying no silver and having empty facilities, not producing anything, are higher than buying silver at $500, for example, and just produce and keep the system running, keep their own production running. So yeah, fundamentally and chart-wise, in my opinion, the current situation, the current uptrend isn't the same as it was in 2011 and in 1980. So let's come to the question right now. Should you sell your silver anyways? Should you hold or should you buy even more? And in my opinion, you need to separate three types of investors, okay? Each situation is individual, but there are three main types, all right? So I will explain it right now. The first one is the speculative investor who just wants to make money. The second one is the investor with a higher time frame, okay? He wants to make money. He doesn't really care about saving his buying power. He just wants to make money, but he has a higher time frame. He has a few years until he wants to sell. He doesn't care about short time frame price volatility. And the third type of investor is the one which wants to save his buying power, who wants to hold silver sometimes until he dies, so his children can inherit it. And of course, there are the industrial demand players, but let's just focus on us, okay, on the normal retail people. And since this question is about us, should we buy, sell, or hold? And in my opinion, if you are someone who thinks long-term, okay, who wants to save his buying power, you could even argue that you can still buy silver at current prices because, as we know, over time, silver goes higher as well as gold. Okay, so if you are someone like this, you should probably just keep staking silver and gold, okay? Of course, no financial advice, disclaimer. Always do your own decision. And for the second type of market investors who wants to buy silver just to make money, who is willing to sell it all again, who doesn't care about his buying power, who doesn't really believe in such a thing, that precious metals will save your buying power forever, or who doesn't actually think that the US economy system will collapse anytime soon. For those people who just want to hold a few years, my opinion, they should just keep holding. I wouldn't sell right now because I think, as I already said, as I already stated, based on fundamentals and based on chart, if we go lower, I think this will just be a correction before we go even higher. And a lot of hedge funds and fund managers will buy when we see the correction. They will buy silver, they will buy gold, they will buy copper, they will buy any commodities, any precious metals, and they will buy the mining stocks as well. And for the third type of investors who just want to make quick gains, or who already made good gains, well, I wouldn't be selling right now, but I also wouldn't be buying right now if you're just trying to speculate. If you try to speculate, I would be buying when you see a bigger correction, okay? If you already made 100% or 150% on your gains you invested in silver in 2015 or whatever, and you just want to be sure that you lock in some profits, of course you can sell a little bit. This ain't a problem. Alright guys, so that's it for today's video. I told you my fundamental opinion, I told you my chart analysis opinion, what will happen with silver in the coming months, and I told you what I would do if I was in the situation of those three type of investors. No financial advice, as I already said, and I would really appreciate it if you leave a follow or if you leave your opinion in the comment section about my ideas. Should you buy, should you sell, or should you just hold and wait for the price to rally even higher? In the coming days, in the coming weeks, I will upload a few more videos about silver and silver miners and about other commodities which I think will have a really great year of 2026 and can even outperform silver and gold. So stay tuned, don't miss the videos, and thanks for watching. Have a nice evening. Goodbye guys.